Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, DearJames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive insights from the unseen, and we go as guided. And, you know, it's been a roller coaster ride of energies, and this week, literally today, and next week, we're going to be culminating in some very big energies. So again, as you're joining around the globe, say hello, and remember that we take your comments and questions live. So welcome, Alicia. And let's just jump in and set the scene for what is occurring today, which is Mars and Jupiter are conjunct. They're together in Gemini. And Mars is about action. It is that creative force. And Jupiter is the great benefactor. It expands and magnifies those energies. And then we are going to have a few squares where Mars is going to square Saturn, the great teacher, and Jupiter will then square Saturn. And then coming up on Monday, the 19th, we have the full moon in Aquarius. And there are some other astrological events. All of these powerhouses, lots of squares, lots of oppositions, which create friction. And they create friction because we want things to release, move forward. So welcome, Olivia. Welcome, Brigitte. Welcome, Heather. So there's a lot. And when I say a lot, the unseen is saying there's a lot going on. So let's look at our main theme, and we're going to back into the astrology, but we're going to cover the main themes. The main theme is a potent moment in time. And the image, the backdrop for the image is the US flag, the United States flag. It has the Bill of Rights, we the people. And remember, the Aquarian age, we the people. And there's the gavel representing justice. Welcome, Ava. And so what they're talking about from today, Wednesday, August 14th, moving forward, arcing out at a minimum the next 2 weeks. And this is going to coincide as well with the DNC, the Democratic National Committee's convention. It's taking place in Chicago. It begins next week on the 19th through the 22nd. So you're going to see this potent moment in time, and potent, having great power, influence, or effect. Moment in time, the exact instance when something occurs or a snapshot of a particular situation or event. So in essence, we're going to look back at this moment in time, this potent moment in time. And it may be days, weeks, months down the road. We're going to look back and remember that macro, globally, macro, micro, in our lives, we're going to be able to look back and go, something changed, something happened, something was potent at that moment. And it will be recognizable to us. We'll be able to look back and go, that's when it happened. That's when it changed. That's when everything coalesced, happened. It's this potent moment in time. Let's look for a second too at the astrological influences, because their theme, all I heard was SHAZAM, KA-POW. And I started laughing with the unseen. I'm like, really? So we've had the Lion's Gate, which was on 8/8, and it's an 8-year, so 888. On the 14th, which is today, Mars and Jupiter are conjunct, 16 degrees Gemini. Also today, Mercury retrograde re-enters Leo. Then on the 18th, the Sun and Mercury come together. They're conjunct, which is known as a CAZIMI. And so it's literally where the Sun is purifying our thoughts and our words and our actions, how we think. It has to do with electronics and celluloid films, things that are recorded, things that last. And then again, on the 19th is the full moon. Here's the point. SHAZAM. These energies are about SHAZAM. SHAZAM is used to indicate an instantaneous transformation or appearance, as if by magic. In the 2019 DC Comics movie, the main character possesses the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas, the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury. It's superhuman, it's super powerful, it's otherworldly. So these astrological influences that we're going to be dealing with, SHAZAM, and then KA-POW. KA-POW, used to represent the sound or effect of an explosion, gunshot, or blow, typically used in or associated with comic strips. And that's exactly how I saw it. It was like when you see an animated cartoon or something, and they're like, KA-POW! Kind of like an animated Batman and Robin or something of that nature. It's also used to convey the suddenness of an action or event. This is the moment that we're going to look back and recognize something globally, something perhaps nationally within the United States, something personally within our own lives. This was the knockout blow moment. We will look back and we will see and recognize this is and was the moment that things changed, that forever changed. That's this whole energy of SHAZAM. And remember, we had this, bringing up the image, this was one of our main themes in a few episodes ago, SHAZAM, a whole new world. And it's that, the kind of like the Saharan sands and everything with the sunlight coming through, and there's that magic genie lamp. This is the energy. It denotes a whole new world. And again, back to the main theme, because it's about we the people. It is about the promise. It is about, and this is not just limited to the United States. It's the image of the American flag and the Bill of Rights and the gavel and so forth, denoting justice. However, as we spoke about in the last episode, this is about we the people. The Aquarian age is about we the people. What is innate? What is innately inalienable rights? What is it that we possess, our divinity, that affords us inalienable rights, and thus to be whole, to be sovereign, to be self-governing in the sense of a collective unity, goodness, advance, and that because our key word, let's just go right to it, our key word, put my specs back on, is, dun, da, 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 there it is, liberation. Our key word is liberation. A liberating or being liberated. The seeking of equal status or just treatment for or on behalf of any group believed to be discriminated against. An occasion when something or someone is released or made free. So this is this moment, this potent moment in time where we are liberated. There's liberation, and we're going to be able to look back at it. And why? Because there's going to be reverberations. And reverberations, effects that spread and affect a lot of people, a continuing effect, a repercussion. The unseen is speaking to us about this moment in time, and they're saying it's going to ripple. It's going to, again, tip the scales. It's going to literally be this moment where we leave the past behind us. And that is number 3 from the unseen. Striving forward, and they underlined multiple times the word forward. Striving forward. So the individual, we, the collective, we release the pain of the past. And then the unseen said, and that's the end game. That's the goal of all of this. Striving forward and releasing the pain of the past. It's not about carrying it into the future. It's not about reliving it. It is about releasing it. Striving forward. And it's number 3. It's the Trinity. It's the unity where ego, mind, personality, heart, and soul source connection, they're all unified. And they're unified in striving forward, and they're unified in releasing the past. So this is a potent moment in time. And then the first thing the unseen said was, I heard, you say you want a revolution. And I'm like, that's a song, that's the Beatles. And so just a few snippets from this, because the key word in this was revolution, but you say you want a revolution, which is the lyrics from the song. The title of the song is Revolution. And then in actuality, what they said was evolution. It's not so much about revolution. It's about evolution. And so the lyrics from the song, you say you want a revolution. We all want to change the world. You tell me that it's evolution. Well, we all want to change the world. But when you talk about destruction, don't you know that you can count me out? See, this isn't about tearing people down and oppressing and suppressing and dominion and control. You can count me out if it's that version of something. But when it's something striving forward, evolution, where we positively receive the present future, our present selves, I'm all in. Count me in. You say you've got a real solution. We'd all love to see the plan. You ask me for a contribution. We're all doing what we can. But if you want money for people with minds that hate, all I can tell you is, brother, you have to wait. See, it's a rejection of hate. It's a rejection of darkness and shadow and oppression. It's a rejection of that. And lastly, you say you'll change the Constitution. We all want to change your head. You tell me it's the institution. Well, you better free your mind instead. See, it's ego, mind, personality that has us locked in an old paradigm, in an old way. And that is what is to be the pain released, the pain of the past. That is what's to be released. Olivia saying, fantastic. Exactly. For me, this is also revelatory, beautiful. And last but not least, the pre-chorus, it says, but if you go carrying pictures of Chairman Mao, you ain't going to make it with anyone anyhow. And so Chairman Mao, just a brief piece, he was known as Chairman Mao. He created what is now the Republic of China. In 1958, in an attempt to introduce a more, quote, Chinese form of communism, Mao launched the, quote, Great Leap Forward. This aimed at mass mobilization of labor to improve agricultural and industrial production. The result, instead, was a massive decline in agricultural output, which, together with poor harvests, led to famine and the deaths of millions. The policy was abandoned and Mao's position weakened. In an attempt to reassert his authority, Mao launched the Cultural Revolution, in quotes, in 1966, aiming to purge the country of impure elements and revive the revolutionary spirit. 1.5 million people died, and much of the country's cultural heritage was destroyed. In September of 1967, with many cities on the verge of anarchy, Mao sent in the army to restore order. Domination, control, manipulation, shadow elements, ego mind personality elements, pains of the past. And here before us, the world stands at this same moment. It's different. It's now X amount of decades later. However, the moral and the point is the same. No matter where you are in the globe, we are choosing either to advance, strive forward, and release the pains of the past, or attempt to relive them and maintain them. And look at what happened. When we go against nature, higher hand and power, destruction, death, subjugation, all of these different things. And this is just a background. Everything happens for a reason. Everything is purposeful. However, we stand at this potent moment in time where the unseen is saying to us, we are striving forward. We release the pain of the past, and that's the end game. The end game is to release the pain of the past, to move forward, to let it go, to move beyond it. Brigitte is saying, so weird, my son and I were just randomly talking about this. There's the synchronicity of the unseen. There is the beauty of that master weaver, and this massive tapestry that is 8 billion souls, all interwoven, perfectly timed. So let's look at the astrological chart for a minute and just see. This is for today, August 14th, 2024. And remember, no matter when you come upon the weekly wisdom and insights, while we're addressing current weekly energies and so forth, there's such rich messages in each one of these from the unseen. So no matter when you find it, it's perfect timing. So anyways, look at the opposition. There's two oppositions going on. The moon is on the left, opposite this Mercury and Jupiter conjunction. They're opposing one another. And then Venus is on one side, top left, opposing Saturn, bottom right. These are oppositions. And then there's a lot of squares going on. And so this energy, and then we have this beautiful kind of harmonious aspects between Pluto on the left in the blue, Pluto's on the left, Neptune's at the bottom, and Uranus, expect the unexpected, is on the right. And this degree of 27 degrees Uranus, we're going to cover this next week with the Aquarius new moon. There's some fascinating things that are happening with that, with the moon and Uranus. So the moral of this story is SHAZAM, KA-POW, a potent moment in time. And that we are going to be able to look back at this moment with, they're saying to me, like revelation, awe, joy, wonder, and again, look at this in both our personal lives and the United States. It's going through its Pluto return. Not since the American, the French, and the Industrial Revolutions, because Pluto's moving into Aquarius. All of these things are happening. The DNC, it's coming up. So there's, and again, this advance. Here's Columbia. We had this in a previous episode. Columbia, representing the ideal of liberty and freedom and equality, we the people. And in the United States, for the second time, a woman will be nominated as a major party's candidate for presidency. And the way this all looks, she will win. It will be, and that just gave me ripples. And the point of that is because it is the matriarchal Aquarian age, and it's time. It's well past the time for the divine feminine to receive, reassert her rightful place within us. It doesn't matter whether it's woman, male or female, gender. That's not the point. The point is within each of us, we have divine masculine and divine feminine. And the divine feminine aspect within us has been diminished, oppressed, suppressed, absent, ridiculed, made to be less than. And those days are gone. They're over. And so within each of us, and whether again, businesses, corporations, institutions, world governments, we are comprised of people, we the people. So everyone needs to take stock. Leaders, institution, presidents and CEOs and independent companies, we all need to take stock of our place in this process and the choices that we are making, because that is the moral of the story that the unseen is giving us. The second thing that the unseen said, it was in concert with a potent moment in time. 2 songs came through. A Moment Like This, that's a song by Kelly Clarkson. And the chorus line of it says, some people wait a lifetime for a moment like this. 8 billion souls have shown up at this moment, this time, because it is greater than, it's greater than the whole. It's greater than what's our individual lives or what might be happening in our individual lives, in the collective lives of the United States. It's about the ideal. And so some people wait a lifetime for a moment like this, because there's a deliverance, there's a changing of the guard, if you will. I mean, it happens every 2,000 plus years. So imagine being at the time of Master Jesus. That was moving from Aries, the lamb, the ram, to Pisces, the fish. Imagine we look 2,000 plus years ago, how iconic that moment in time was. It's still with us today. Centuries later, weeks, months, decades later, peoples will look back at this moment, this potent moment in time, and say, that's when it happened. That's when it changed. That's when I changed. And I either got left behind or I massively leaped forward in the most beautiful, loving, embracing way, because it's the unseen saying, hey, we're here to love you all. We're here with you. We're walking this journey with you. And to Olivia's point, it's about time. Here we are. So now let's take a look at, we're going to back into the astrology. And I'm going to go first to Astrology by Lauren. And she's talking about the Jupiter square Saturn and Mars. And actually, before we do that, let's go to our mantra very quickly, because it's so powerful and it's going to play into all of this. I rise like the phoenix, unencumbered. Beautiful image of the phoenix rising, the flames. I rise like the phoenix, unencumbered. Why? It's number 3. Striving forward, I release the pain of the past. And that is my end game. So whatever you may be carrying, thinking, dealing with, I'm striving forward. I release the pain of the past. That's my end game. And I rise like the phoenix, unencumbered. Harness these powerful astrological, as above, so below. Harness these energies. So here we are. This is Astrology by Lauren. It's an excerpt from it. This week, Mars in Gemini will meet up with Jupiter, forming a conjunction on August 14th. That's today. Before that, Mars will make a minor sesquiquadrate aspect to Pluto on the 12th. And then we'll tie it all together with a square to Saturn on the 16th. So we've got the conjunction, we've got these multiple squares, we've got the full moon coming up, big energies. Mars is known for being a catalyst. It is a planet of action that motivates and urges us to do something and or say something. The expansive nature of Jupiter adds an optimistic and enthusiastic quality to Mars in Gemini that will be hard to squelch, even with the afflictions from Saturn and Pluto. Tying in with the Jupiter-Pluto square last week, the upcoming Jupiter-Saturn square appears to be testing our moral fortitude. Go back to the founding fathers of the United States. We the people, there are inalienable rights. So our moral fortitude is being tested. And our moral fortitude, what's at your soul? Not your ego, mind, personality. What's in your soul? This will compel us to get back to our core beliefs. And when we connect in our heart of hearts with what we know to be morally and ethically right, and we are willing to stand up for that, even the most challenging of obstacles will not be able to sway that moral conviction. Pluto just makes it all that much more urgent to do so. And remember, Pluto is moving back into Capricorn for the last time to shake the shenanigans out of us, to shake our roots free so that we are transplanted into greater pots, bigger pots. We've got evolution, we've got growth. We've been playing it small for too long. Now it's time. Things have been moving pretty quickly with Mars in Gemini, so it could come as something of a shock and a bit of frustration when we are stopped in our tracks or have to make some revisions later on next week. And this is very funny because both Astrology by Lauren and Pam Youngins, the astrologer with North Point Journal, are utilizing the phrase that the unseen gave us at the very beginning of 2024 of this year. And we're coming to it right now. So Mars, Jupiter, in the mutable sign of Gemini, can have the tendency to be overly enthusiastic, to move too quickly. Saturn, the planet of caution, will push back. Whereas Mars, Jupiter is saying, go, go, go. This is the part from the unseen when they said to us, come August, it's going to be a mixed bag of nuts, fruits and nuts and everything. And they said, and yet, go, go, go. There's nothing you can't do, achieve, or handle. Here, both of these astrologers in August are saying what the unseen gave us in the beginning of the year. And she's saying, do it now. So it's go, 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 do it now. Mars, Saturn says, now hold on there. You're not going anywhere. Jupiter is saying yes, while Saturn is saying no. It's like they're showing me, it's like driving. Someone's got their right foot on the gas and their left foot on the brake. Jupiter wants to take risks, to expand, to grow, and to be free enough to do so. But Saturn is resistant, much more conservative, and wants to stick to the way things always were in the past. So we have this whole leaping forward, the action, Mars, it's married with Mars, Jupiter, the great benefactor, magnifying this creative force to move forward, to strive forward and advance. and then Saturn representing institutions and familiarity and so forth is saying, it's triggering the fears in us because we don't know what's on the other side. We haven't been there yet. We know the beast we know, but that doesn't mean that that's a good enough reason to stay where we are or where we've been. Can you imagine life if we just, again, if it's black and white, if we're just reliving the same thing over and over and over and over again because it's comfortable, because we know it? What's the point of that? You've got to take the risks. We must take the risks to see what's on the other side of the mountain, to see what's on the other side of where we've never been. This is a time of transition in which forces both within and without are conflicting. In society, it will be expressed in opposing factions, where one group is forward-leaning and wants to grow and expand, while another wants something more familiar, safe, conservative. In our own lives, this will be expressed through some sort of inner conflict that we are going through in our lives. So you're going to see where in your own lives, should I leave this relationship to see what's on the other side? Should I relocate to see what's on the other side? Should I accept this other job or transfer to see what's on the other side? It's the familiarity, the past, in contrast to the unknown, the present future. Just know that there is a stalwart determination that can come with Mars and Pluto in the picture. The sort of determination that does not give up no matter what. Even in the face of extraordinary odds, we have already been seeing records-breaking and remarkable achievements in Paris this past week in the Olympics. That's the sort of determination and effort that can come when so much is at stake. And sometimes we just have no other choice but to keep on keeping on, no matter what, for a better world awaits. And to tie this in with Astrology by Lauren and her comment about these remarkable achievements at the Olympics in Paris, we go back to the second song that came with A Potent Moment in Time. It's by Whitney Houston, One Moment in Time. And she sang this song at the 1988 Summer Olympics. And part of the lyrics, each day I live, I want to be a day to give the best of me. I'm only one, but not alone. My finest day is yet unknown. I broke my heart, fought every gain. To taste the sweet, I faced the pain. I rise and fall, yet through it all, this much remains. I want one moment in time, when I'm more than I thought I could be. When all of my dreams are a heartbeat away, and the answers are all up to me. Give me one moment in time, when I'm racing with destiny. Then in that one moment of time, I will feel eternity. We are one in this moment. We are the catalyst for change, for evolution, for striving forward, for releasing the pains of the past, for capturing what is before us. What came before us, we stand on the shoulders of giants, what came before us, and what is literally before us, meaning the matriarchal era, divine feminine rule came before us. It happened before. The wheel of time ever moves, ever changes, continues forward. So we are coming back around to receive that. And much like in the Olympics, when they're passing the torch from one to the other, and they finally to the last one, and they light the torch. Whew. That eternal flame. That eternal advance. These astrological energies where this Saturn and Jupiter, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, this, running forward and the foot on the brake. Number 4 from the unseen is slow and steady And this was one of our mantras. I'm just going to bring it up here. Slow and steady wins the race. And so it's foundational. It's to be consistent with ourselves, with each other, and with our choices. Slow and steady wins the race. Because it's about our determination to experience the future, to experience the matriarchal Aquarian era, to see what's on the other side of where we've already been. If we never do it, we'll never know. So, in essence, the unseen is saying to us in this moment, been there, done that, being who we know we are and all, it's not good enough. It's not okay. There's more. There's more on offer. Now, we don't go running out roughshod and crazy and trip ourselves and, slow and steady wins the race. Because of our fortitude, our determination, our faith, our oneness, our unity. What brings out the best in us. Let's look now, because let's be clear, and I'm going to bring this image up. This will be viewed as a tower moment. And towers are the tarot card, the tower in the tarot is both it's a positive card. We can experience a tower moment by an incredible leap forward, something that just catapults us forward. And we can also experience it like a cosmic 2x4, where you see people jumping out of the tower, the lightning striking the tower, and from a reactive place. So it can be a proactive experience or a reactive experience. That's up to each of us. That is up to our choice. However, a potent moment in time, this moment, is going to be viewed as a tower moment. Good, bad, or indifferent. That is probably how it will be looked back on, viewed upon with some distance, with some hindsight. Brigitte is saying, Carol Collins channels the Teachers Collective, confirmed everything you've said. There are so many unseen helping us all now, and music is powerful. Ask daily for help and be in gratitude. Exactly. Soul source connection every single day. Connect to your soul, connect to your heart of hearts, eliminate all the chatter, all the monkey mind, all the fear, release it, and just trust, walk in faith that there's something greater for each of us, within each of us. Individual, micro, macro, for the whole, because that's truly what's there. There's nothing to fear. I mean, imagine if we feared going to the moon, we would never have gotten there. If we feared, but again, if we fear the future, or we fear the Aquarian era or the matriarchal era, or the harmony and the equality of our brothers and sisters, our other souls, our soul that are journeying at this moment, then we're stuck. It's stagnant. It's old. It's the image of the train where they're cleaving to they're hanging on by a thread, by their fingernails over this abyss. Because look, the train is speeding along. It's going someplace, and yet there are those trying to hang on to it to go back to where it came from. But that's not, the arc of destiny moves forward. So now let's jump to North Point Journal. This is Pam Youngin's, and it's an excerpt from North Point Journal. Mars is the planet of action and desire, while Jupiter is the great magnifier. Their conjunction in the sign of the twins, represented by Castor and Pollux, one was immortal and divine, one was human and mortal. And the sign of the twins, representing the mind, the nervous system, and communication, increases the amount of information we receive, as well as its impact upon us. This effect is often due to the confidence and forcefulness with which words are spoken or written. So our words matter. Remember, the Sun, CAZIMI, Mercury, conjunct CAZIMI, and the Sun is going to burn away. It's like the Temperance card. It's going to burn away the impurities of the past, the pains of the past, so that we have a greater sense of purity, harmony, balance in our words, our actions, our thoughts. Fixed star RIGEL. The Mars-Jupiter alignment, and we spoke about this last week in last week's show. The Mars-Jupiter alignment, which perfects on Wednesday, August 14th, is at the same degree as the fixed star RIGEL, and is thus activating the qualities of that star. Even ancient astrologers who saw most of the fixed stars as being unfavorable believed that RIGEL bestowed honor, riches, happiness, glory, fame, and good fortune. In modern astrology, RIGEL is known to add energy, confidence, and determination to all that it touches. It encourages us to use our skills and abilities and helps ensure positive outcomes. Got a big smile on my face. Positive outcomes. However, we must also be aware of a potential for impulsive or rash actions, taking too much for granted or waiting passively for, quote, fate to reward us. See, again, we've got to be listening to Brigitte say, this meditation, gratitude, being proactive. And even when we're told to hold, we're in a holding state for a reason. That's being active and proactive. That is not waiting passively. That's an active listening, active choice to listen and to recognize what we're being told. Saturn standing by. Mars and Jupiter rendezvous every 2 years, but this year their conjunction is greatly complicated by the presence of Saturn. As the Mars-Jupiter alignment occurs, the ringed planet Saturn is standing by, ready to test both planets by square aspect. Squares are conflict. They create tension to release things. It's like, do you really mean what you say? Are you really in? Are you really all in? Are you really looking to do something? The Mars-Saturn square is exact on Thursday, August 15th, and the Jupiter-Saturn square is exact for the first time on August 19th, same day as the Aquarius full moon, Monday, coming up. Independent, dynamic Mars urges us to move forward and to take risks, and Jupiter magnifies those qualities. Together, Mars and Jupiter can be impulsive and expansive. They encourage us to take a leap of faith, perhaps without considering all the ramifications of our actions. But Saturn, as the planet of responsibility, integrity, and reason, is much more cautious. This weekend next, Mars Jupiter is cheering loudly and enthusiastically. Go, go, go! At the same time, Saturn is stepping on the brake pedal. This is not a malefic intention on Saturn's part, but in its role as Father Time, the planet knows about proper timing and when a slowdown is needed if we are to reach our destination safely. It's the tortoise and the hare. It is not spending all of our life force and everything spinning out prematurely and watching where the tortoise crosses the finish line first, wins the race. Thus, we may experience obstacles and delays in fulfilling the promise of the Mars-Jupiter alignment. This is why, and just for a second, so imagine, this is, right now it's August. There's another 75 plus days, in essence, to the election in the US. You've got to have the stamina and the staying power. Slow and steady wins the race. To cross the finish line first, to win. This is why, in addition to Mercury being retrograde, we will want to maintain a wait-and-see attitude about all new enterprises at this time. It is about discernment. It is about having a proper head on our shoulders. Really thinking through so that we're not rash about what we're doing and then having to reverse or redo, or because there's divine timing playing out here. The Jupiter-Saturn square that perfects next Monday is a highly significant aspect. It will be exact 3 times in August and December of 2024 and June of 2025, and will have a major impact on our social structures and belief systems going forward. So again, these are the heavy hitter outer planets involved here, which denotes mega change, global change, as above, so below. So be patient with yourselves, and yet don't fear advancing. Just do so with great clarity, purity of intentions, action, but your soul source intuitive plan. Not your allow your ego mind personality to align, to be in service to and with your soul source plan, action. Allow it to implement and strive forward. Because if it's in the reverse, we're leaving the soul behind or out or absent. Where the true north, soul source connections, true north, it could have said, well, I could have told you that, but you didn't listen. Or you heard it and you ignored it. So it's very important at this moment, this potent moment in time, listen to your soul source connection. So now let's jump to let's jump to our soul source connection, our Sabian symbols, because they are so beautiful and powerful. And these Sabian symbols are based on the event chart, the horary chart. Here it is again, bringing it up, for this Mars-Jupiter conjunction. And so we're going to look first at Mars and Jupiter. Their Sabian symbol is 17 Gemini. The head of a robust youth changes into that of a mature thinker. So we go from a robust youth, it could be inexperience or impetuosity and all these other, being cavalier, to that of a mature thinker. The transformation of physical vitality into the power to build concepts and intellectual formulations through which knowledge can be transferred. We're building something of substance. It's physical vitality that's being transformed to build concepts, intellectual formulations. What we see pictured is the transformation of emotions into mind, of instincts into thoughts. It's a process of mental metamorphosis. The Sun and Mercury conjunct, it's a CAZIMI. Mental, the purging, the cleansing, the baptism by fire. The Sun is burning away the impurities for us to all have a mental metamorphosis. We can see that it's possible. We can see the pains of the past and release them. We can let go of all of these things. Next is the moon. And I love this because remember, the moon reveals. It can illuminate what has been hidden. Seagulls fly around a ship in expectation of food. The keynote, the easily acquired dependence of psychic desires upon the stimulation of social circumstances. What this is talking about is that we have come to depend. We're not thinking for ourselves. Our soul source connection, our heart to heart, what's at our center. Because we become dependent on external sources. And seagulls, and they're, in essence, instead of them hunting for their nourishment and listening to their soul source connection, they go to the docks where the dumpsters are, and they simply have been conditioned now to depend on what's been discarded. So it's dependence. Well, interesting, a potent moment in time. You say you want a revolution, but it's about evolution, and the image that the unseen is having us use is that of independence. We the people, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights. And again, it's not just to America. We're using this as the example, but it speaks to all of humanity. It doesn't matter what country, what government. 8 billion souls have inalienable rights, and it is a declaration of independence, not dependence. And so this symbol, the moon, is revealing to us how we've become dependent on something as opposed to we the people reigniting, reclaiming our independence. And we can do that in a collective, unified manner where it recognizes each individual's sovereignty, uniqueness, quote unquote difference, and yet likeness. It's all divinity. The sun illuminates. In a circus, the bareback rider displays her dangerous skill. In a circus, the bareback rider displays her dangerous skill. The keynote, the audacity and perseverance required to control and play with the powerful energies of the vital realm in human existence. At this third stage, the ego is in control. It is a great showman, but it serves a purpose. The performance stirs the imagination of the young consciousness. It raises the mind above the commonplace. The key word is virtuosity, great technical skill. So here, the divine feminine, the ego is required. We say this all the time. We're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. The ego, mind, personality, represented by the divine masculine, we need a healthy ego, mind, personality. However, in its highest, purest form, it needs to be in service to and with the soul, the divine feminine. And that is great technical skill. It's virtuosity. It's raising it. It's inspiring, and it's raising it above the commonplace. What's easy. What can be, quote unquote, cheap. Mercury is talking about, in a portrait, the significant features of a man's head are artistically emphasized. The capacity to picture to oneself clearly the salient features and the overall meaning of any life situation. This is about seeing ourselves clearly. Sun, Mercury, CAZIMI. It's going to burn away everything so we have greater clarity, so we can see ourselves and what our choices are and what we're looking at and what we're being fed. We can see it more clearly so that when we make choices, they are independent choices, not dependent choices. This symbol's keyword is discrimination. Implied in discrimination is both analysis and intuition. Divine masculine, divine feminine. Ego, mind, personality, soul source connection. The mind separates and identifies, and unfortunately often exaggerates. What makes a person or a situation different from another? But the intuitive responses of the whole person to what confronts him or her is also essential. For what matters is not only my or your difference, but the place and function this difference occupies in the overall pattern and evolution of humanity as a whole. See, we're to rise above what's cheap and easy, what's on the surface. We're to harness the purity of our divine masculine and divine feminine to recognize what are our differences affording us as a whole. Not to tear them down and subjugate them and alienate them and oppress and suppress. No. To harness the very best of us. I can know better other than to the aspect that is divine feminine within me as a male. I can no better speak to that of a female than a female can in like manner of a male. So we are able to rely on one another. The same as with ethnicity, gender, geopolitics, geolocation. It's all about what aspect of the whole are you bringing to the table that we all might benefit from. There has always been, there should always be a place at the table for everyone. Through our unity of difference, we shine. We achieve things it is greatness personified. But instead, we've been mired for millennia in this whole thing of dividing and conquering and taking and suppressing. Well, how do you ever receive the greatness that is in another when you're conquering, when you're too busy conquering them, trying to make them yourself, like you? But what about divine neutrality, where everything within us, there's something of great benefit, there's something of great beauty, there's something on offer. And the only things that are required is courage and willingness and openness to receive. Venus. After the wedding, the groom snatches the veil away from his bride. The keynote, the penetrating and unveiling power of the trained mind. The key word is unveiling. There can also be an unveiling of mysteries, long protected by secrecy. So again, here comes the divine feminine, everything she represents. The unveiling of mysteries, of what all that entails, long protected by secrecy. It has been protected. Well, here it comes. And it's Venus. It's the symbol for Venus. The vertex. In a collection of perfect specimens of many biological forms, a butterfly displays the beauty of its wings, its body impaled by a fine dart. This is speaking to, we had this last week. This is the first statement in the 13th scene, 13 representing the letter M, representing the divine feminine of the great ritual drama. It is an actional phase because in it, the perfection of individual activity is revealed and immortalized. This is the symbolical transfiguration. At the Mount of Transfiguration, Jesus, the Son of Man, was impaled by the ray of divine light, making of him a son of God. It was at this very moment that he learned of the crucifixion awaiting him. Thus, the merely human individual is, quote, made sacred, becoming the pure embodiment of an archetype. Two of these symbols speak to the transfiguration, speak to this moment. And remember, we can look back at this moment, a symbolical transfiguration on the Mount of Transfiguration, a potent moment in time. It's something that we will be able to look back to, just like this example. This moment now will be, in that way, noticeable in hindsight. The point, though, is that we're being made sacred. It's a reminder of who we are, of who we truly are at our center, not what all of this, wedge issues and, the divide and conquer and make enemies of others. That's an illusion. That's Neptunian. That's an absolute illusion. When two people come and sit at the table, or many people, and they're willing to see and hear one another, you find they have much in common and little that is in opposition, or little that they can't reason with, accept, live and let live. It's only when someone's stirring the pot, Neptunian illusion, that it gains or receives any power. Lilith, the dark moon. A man watches his ideals taking a concrete form before his inner vision. This is interior formulation. So it's about receiving our soul source connection. It's about listening. This interior, because we got to get it right on the inside. It's always an inside job. So we've got to get it right on the inside so that what we externalize is harmonious, because we're harmonious. The South Node, this is a good one. South Node, what we're releasing and so forth, and also because it's an aspect with the North Node of where we're going, 3 old masters hanging on the wall of a special room in an art gallery. The need to return to source during a confused search for new value in a chaotic society. When we're confused, when there's all this clatter and chatter and crud coming at us, the need to return to source. Not to your ego, mind, personality, to your soul source connection, to source. There are always moments which focus our minds on the longing to reground ourselves in the great achievements of the past. The number 3 suggests completeness. Esoteric traditions speak of the threefold soul, or of the 3 fundamental rays: the ray of power, the ray of love-wisdom, and the ray of intelligence in action. Meditation, this is to Brigitte, meditation in its deepest sense is a return to source, an attempt to re-identify oneself with one's archetypal essence of being, your true nature, what's at your center, which is triune in manifestation. And now, after confused but challenging wanderings, to identify oneself consciously with this essence. So it's speaking about, with all the chatter and where we've lost our way and so forth, what do? We come back home. Last week they were talking about it's that final stretch, it's that last turn to home. Home, soul source connection, what's at our center, what's at our deepest being. And that we consciously align with this essence. The finer forms of one's culture provide the means to do this. The great moments of the collective past become an inspiration for new, yet sound beginnings. The seed of tomorrow salutes the seed of yesteryear. See, we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We salute it. We honor it. We say thank you, and we release it. At this 4th stage, it is suggested that in the process of transfiguration, the presence of the greatest moments of the past is called upon, as Moses and Elijah were invoked in Jesus' transfiguration. So here they are, ancestors being brought, greatest moments of the past being brought forward. We stand on the shoulders of giants. The seed of the new day depends upon the seed of yesteryear for an experience of the cyclic continuity of spirit. This is the basis for the institutionalized ideal of apostolic succession. The Guru Ampara, an uninterrupted chain of gurus of Indian tradition. See, it's a relay race. It's a continuation, and yet the continuation, the new, can be completely different. It can be revolutionary, revelatory in its newness, in its energies. However, it is based on all that came before us. 2,000 plus years ago, there is a moment, a potent moment in time, right at the same change, Aries to Pisces, now Pisces to Aquarius. They're saying, see, it stands on what happened then. These are the seeds for what will be birthed at this transition. Because what did Master Jesus teach? Love. Love thy neighbor as thyself, and thy God above all other. Love. The New Testament is not about hate. It is not hellfire, brimstone, and hate and oppression and suppression. No. It's about love. So like the song, you say you want a revolution. If you're talking about hate or you want money for hate, you're going to have to wait. Because that's of the past. The Ascendant is about a fire worshiper meditates on the ultimate realities of existence, and it's about the will to transcend. There's a willingness. Do we have the will to transcend this era, to release the pains of the past? And last but not least, here's Saturn. In a gigantic tent, villagers witness a spectacular performance. Saturn, the great teacher. This is talking about, and this is coinciding. Here's the Democratic National Committee's convention coming up. It's coinciding. It begins on the 19th. We're in the days away from it. So all of this is happening surrounding it. It's happening in Chicago. Chicago in Native Americans language, and this is from the spiritual meaning, but it means either striped skunk. So Chicago means either striped skunk, or it can also mean onion or leeks, because along the marshes and riverbeds and everything, there were tons of onions and leeks. Well, the spiritual meaning of skunk is about protection, self-defense, and confidence. Onion, ward off evil spirits, represents eternity. Leeks, resilience and strength. The keynote of this, so in a gigantic tent, villagers witness a spectacular performance. The keynote, the collective appeal of a well-staged and exciting display of skill and or oratory, public speaking. At this third stage of the 70th fivefold sequence, the individual person and the collectivity are brought together in a significant performance which subtly strengthens the communal spirit, directly or indirectly. It will inspire. It will raise up, lift up. It will speak to us, to our souls, to our hearts and minds. The implication of the symbol, whenever it is found operating, is that the time has come for the individual to dare to present themselves and their works to their community for applause or for the purpose of attracting a following. What is suggested is public self-dramatization. It's a call to action. It's a call, and the fact that it is all of these astrological energies are occurring at this moment, surrounding what's occurring in the United States as a backdrop, as an ideal, should speak to us no matter where we are on the planet. Because what's on offer? What is the ideal? Unity, harmony, oneness. And it is not some airy-fairy, spiritual, abstract concept. It's simple truth. We are all one. When we seek to invite that, to visit that, to exchange that, to harness that currency, there is nothing, as the unseen said at the beginning of the year. I'm just going to quote them here. Latter half of 2024, August on, mixed bag of nuts and surprises. And yet, go, go, go. There's nothing to worry about, nothing you can't do or accomplish. Persevere, prevail, rise up. When we come together in harmony, in unity, in love, in goodness, oneness, it is the best of us. The absolute best of us, and there's nothing to worry about and nothing we can't do or accomplish. So we're going to close with The Unseen, Astrology by Lauren, Pam Youngin's North Point Journal Astrology, and The Unseen saying, go, go, go. Stride forward. Release the pains of the past because that's the end game. Slow and steady wins the race. Have determination. And harness the powers of a potent moment in time in our individual lives and in our collective lives. Because the last thing the universe said, which they have been giving us this pretty consistently, number 5, it denotes change, and they said, looks like we made it. It's the Barry Manilow song, and they said, triumphant, having crossed the finish line, we won. Until next week, be well, love you all, and we will see what is taking place next week with these powerful energies that are on the August 19th. That are going to be playing out as well throughout, as we said, this is going to arc out for a little while. So until then, be well, be kind. I love you all. Thank you all for your comments and for showing up. And we will see you next week.